Sarah is a former client of mine, as in she's got a boutique small studio in the suburbs of Melbourne. And when we first started together, she was, I need to obviously increase my revenue, but I want more clients. And other than just that business model, she started with another idea, which was retreats. And the reason I'm introducing her to you guys today and interviewing her is because she doesn't realize, when we have just another random chat that we've done over the years when we catch up, is how much gold and how many questions that she accidentally answers and how much knowledge she has about actually running a retreat. Because to date, let me just share this thing over. I just can't multitask at the same time. To date, Sarah's done over 20 retreats. Didn't you say you had?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how many. I could go back and check, but yeah, probably 20.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, the last time I spoke to you, you'd done 12. You were up to the 12th one, and that was
okay.
So it seems to be. And this year, the goal was, what did you say it was to do? Like something like 7? I need 7.
Yep.
And guys, what I also want to talk to you about, like probably after we do some Q&A and just some basic, like kind of the housekeeping admin of how do you choose a house and what do you do when you're there, and food and outsourcing and what other people do get in, is also she's gotten to a point now where most people dream of when they run a retreat is to actually have groups contacting you to run the thing, which obviously makes it easier. And what price point do you run these things at? Because people don't even know how to choose those things. And as much as for my clients like you or Sarah, there's like a very simple list of do it in this order and choose these things, then execute. Lots of people, also what we have for you today is lots of people want to be able to go on a retreat before they do the thing. I think that's a great idea personally. I've been on multiple retreats. Some of them I've paid like 5 figures US for, and they haven't really been worth that. But I learned a lot in the process of what people actually charge for these things. But Sarah doesn't charge in that realm either. However, she takes more people and she's so easygoing. Wait until you hear, like you'll just actually be inspired by listening to her about how actually easy this part of the business model can be and how much life it's been able to breathe into the rest of her business, and like literally her life, obviously, because it's just given her that, I don't know, extra bit of freedom. Obviously, as cash flow does. So, and towards the end of this year, 2020, her and I are going to do a retreat together where you can learn actually how to run a retreat, and we'll talk about the business stuff of that. So the details will be near this recording somewhere in terms of just get in touch with me and we can organise the dates and how that works if you want to come on that and learn how to run your own retreat and do more business stuff as well. And you'll get to experience just how easygoing Sarah is in terms of all this stuff. And what made me think that, Sarah, was we were talking about, you know, cooking and all the rest of it, because I couldn't fathom anything worse than trying to cook for 10 or 15 people, whereas you're like, oh, Kate, it's so easy, you know, just put a slow cook roast on and you do this for breakfast and you do that. So just all those details, like clearly I'm far more neurotic and I'd rather hire a chef because I can't multitask, and you're just easygoing. So it's a really amazing attitude to have. And I think when people let go of the details and they just execute, then they can get to where you are. So I want people to see where you are, really.
Yeah.
It's very inspiring. So you have a studio as well. And what else would you say that you do?
What else do I do?
Yeah, as far as a coach, like so people kind of get a bit of a gist of this is who you are.
I also have just finished up working in the mental health industry as well at a rehab as a wellness, doing all their wellness, group sessions, and I used to do all their diets, and I used to not diets but meal planning, and I also used to take all the people in the program for exercise at the studio. So that was a few times a week. And then the studio is small group and training, which I take, quite a few of those classes. And then I also do just a handful of PT clients and a bit of sports training and just a bit of everything, really. A mum at the end of all of that.
Pardon?
A mum at the end of all of that. A couple of kids, that's a bit of a job.
Yeah, just a little bit. And actually, off the back of a retreat, she was able to have her first kind of non-kid holiday, which I think is actually really exciting because as much as, don't get me wrong, I love my child, but a holiday's very different without them.
Yeah, definitely.
Which you got to experience, which is good. So I will definitely ask you questions, but what would you say would be the first thing that you'd get done as far as if you're going to consider running a retreat? What's the first thing that you'd get done?
Okay, so the first thing is to set a date. When I first was talking about it with you, Kate, I remember I didn't have the ins and outs, and I had just the idea, and in my head I had a vision of how I wanted it to look, but you said, all right, let's set a date. And I was like, no way, I'm not setting a date till I know how everything is going to run. And then I think by the end of that call, I set a date and I put it just on my little Facebook page for my clients. And I just said, is anybody interested? I don't think I actually set the date at this point. I put an interest post out and I got quite a bit of interest. So I then, within that week, booked two retreats, one after each other, 2 weekends in a row. And they were both full. So I set the date and then I just started working on what was going to go on in the actual retreat. So booking the date, which makes you then go, shit, all right, I've got to do it. Don't think you have to know everything of from the second you wake up to the minute they all go home. Book it and then it'll all start to come together.
Exactly. Actually, I just got cold shivers as you said that. So much happens. I mean, logistically, I think the only other thing that you need is obviously a property because I've learning from my own mistakes. Actually, once the property pulled the pin on me and they said, I'm so sorry, we double booked you, and I'd already taken everyone's money.
Yeah.
So I actually had to cancel it. I couldn't get another location, so I had to give the money back. But it's always confirm the property as well and then secure it with
But that's completely out of your hands as well.
Yeah, totally.
You can't. So with the property, I guess I knew that I wanted to do it at Phillip Island. And so I was looking at properties. So within that week, I got a property and I got the availability and then just booked it. So it's really easy. They've got all their availabilities on their sites. So, once I got the interest, I put the 2 dates up and it was actually booked out within, like, as soon as I put it back up and said, well, it's going ahead and it's going ahead this date. So, definitely have in mind of where you want to go and, properties, that's probably the second thing. But have a date in your mind and then probably look for your property to see if the dates are actually available and then book it.
So I guess it's funny, I'm just giggling because it's funny how when you come back and you can give someone advice and go, well, it's just as simple, just do this thing, but everyone has whatever they've got to overcome in their own head of fear.
I didn't want to book it. I remembered I wanted to have everything organized. I wanted to have everything done, ready to go. But then once I booked it, I had like 6 weeks to get everything organized. So it was heaps of time.
Actually, that's another good statement is the lead time out. And I think like my broad statement for if someone's got to put something in their calendar, excuse me, it's very different doing a seminar because it's a 1 hour thing that they show up for or a personal training session or in a workshop in comparison to they have to book 2 days out of the diary. You just need to give people probably at least 6 weeks notice or, risk not being able to take as many people. Now, that's the other thing is how do you choose a property? Because I know you take a lot of people on your retreats, don't you?
I do a maximum of 10. I choose my properties. I've been to a few different properties now, and I choose the properties. One, I try to have 4 bedrooms. It depends on what kind of retreat you're going to run. See, I have mine so I can keep the price down for people to come, so they have to share a room. So I try to have 4 bedrooms. and as many beds as you can. So try not to have as many like double beds or king size beds. Do you know what I mean? So single beds are good. If you get a house that's got 10 single beds, that's good, because then people don't have to share a bed. But so I look for probably 4 bedrooms, and then I also look at the living area, because I do Pilates and yoga and meditation. So I need a space for people to lie down and do exercise in there. So the properties I have, I can easily move, say, tables and couches, to create a lot of space. These houses are quite big anyway. So I had a beautiful one in St Andrews, I think I was telling you. And there was like a room. There was a curtain that cut it off, like there was like a kitchen area and a lounge room area, and then there was a curtain, and you open it. It was a massive just space it was like a studio. It was awesome. So, especially in winter when you need to do exercise like indoors, um, it was perfect. We just had the mats and everything in there, and we could do our exercise in there, because if you haven't got space and you have to go outside, it's the weather, especially like where I am in Melbourne, can be so unpredictable.
Yeah, Victoria, so it's we're
yeah. So I do. Yeah. I can look at a space and go, yep, I can move that and fit 10 people in. Or I can look at it and go, nah, it's not going to work if we need to use the indoors. Some of them have garages that are really like there's nothing in them because they're Airbnb, so they don't have a whole lot of personal stuff in there. So you can go out there and do some sessions. It depends what you're doing on your retreat as well. If you are exercising.
Good point. So I find like before I did it, I had this whole big schedule in my head, and then I thought I'm just going to go with it, because at the end of the day, it was really like trying to get, how do you transport these people, especially you, if you've got like 10 people, maybe you guys have got cars there. The last one I did was interstate, so I couldn't worry about that. So then there's transport to the places that you're going. So I really highly recommend using the method that Sarah's done, which is just doing something within a 2-hour vicinity, because you can drive there. So that cuts out the whole transport as an issue. Then maybe if you're lucky, you can really get 2 things done on the day. Or what's the philosophy that you follow as far as like planning how many things you can get done in a day?
Okay, so on the Saturday, because mine is only from a Friday night to a Sunday lunchtime. On the Saturday, we pretty much start at 8 in the morning, and then we, because I don't like to do it too early as well, because my whole thing is for people to get away, relax, get some exercise in, but also have some time out. So I don't want to wake them up at 6 o'clock in the morning and start yelling in there or anything like that. So I say to them they've got to be on the deck, which is usually upstairs for brekkie, about 8, and we do a bit of a morning ritual where we sit and do a little bit of a meditation for about 15 minutes after brekkie. Then I offer a half an hour HIIT session, just like a Tabata session, body weight. And then 9 o'clock, I've got a Pilates instructor that comes, and we do a 45-minute Pilates class. It's about an hour. That goes till about 10:30. Then I give them a little break, and they go and get a drink and toilet and whatever they need to do. Then they come back upstairs or wherever it is, and we do a workshop. And my workshop, I take it, and that's on goals and putting goals into action. So I've got a bit of a worksheet, and we sit down, we go through that. That creates a lot of discussion, which is good. So we all start chatting, and that's when we have morning tea as well. So I have morning tea on the table. And then from about 12 until 4, I do, it's a bit all over the place, but it is structured because I've got bookings everywhere. But I have a Reiki healer, I have a masseuse, and I have a beautician. They all come to the house, and we do facials, massage, and Reiki. And we also do lunch. So I do a lunch where people can kind of have, like we don't all sit down and eat it together. So people are off doing their pampering, and then they'll just come back and have the lunch whenever they can fit it in. So there's still time in there to relax, and we're usually near shops or a beach. So some people go for walks. The house I've got at the moment's got a pool, so they can have a swim. There's outside. Some people just lie down outside and just rest. They read a book. We've got a sauna. So that 4 hours is kind of action-packed, but it is kind of relaxing as well. Some people have a sleep. It's totally up to them.
You need a lot of time, whereas if you consider your own buffer of time, you don't need a lot of stuff. Like I find even doing 2 things, especially if they're external to actually being on the property, then people don't get a lot of downtime. They don't get a lot of time to read and stuff. And you've got to be conscious if you're going to have someone come in, and you've got optional extras like the massage and the Reiki and stuff, haven't you? So they're optional, guys, meaning you don't actually have to include everything like that in your price, because if you bring external contractors in, obviously your costs go up. Which is something to solve.
Yeah, their costs go up though. So yeah, I don't pay for the people to come in. I pay for the Pilates, yoga, and meditation trainers, but I don't pay the others. If they want to do the pampering, they just have to pay for that.
Yes.
So in saying that, everybody has the pampering. They all I think they all just think, oh, I'm here, I may as well do the whole lot, but they still get a really good amount of time to relax. So it seems like there's a lot jammed in, but they're only half hour and 45. Like if you did all the pampering, it's an hour and 45 minutes, and you've got 4 hours. Do you know what I mean? So and then at about 4:30, we all come together and we all get comfortable on the ground. The house I've got at the moment's got a beautiful outdoor bit. It's got a roof, but it's outdoors. So in summer, and when it's really nice, we go out there and do at 5 o'clock. Sorry, it's meditation. So we all get comfortable to do that. So we either do it outside or inside. So yeah, we have blankets, and Shaylee, a girl that I have, she comes and puts oil on our feet and stuff in our eyes and stuff like that. And she takes us through an hour of meditation, and it is just awesome. Everybody loves it. So that's a full hour, and then she gets her little cards out at the end and does angel cards and stuff like that. Then they have a bit of time, and then we just pretty much they have time between that and dinner, and then we all sit and have dinner together, and then they're absolutely knackered, and I reckon they pretty much go to bed by about 9:30. It's great. Whole house of women are in bed at 9:30. So and that's one day. It does seem like a lot, but it actually works really well.
And then can I just say also, in between all this, who's doing the cooking? How do you cooking? I mean, without going into extreme detail, we'll presume that people know how to cook the basics, because as much as I know how to cook the basics for like 4 to 6 people, it feels overwhelming to me to try to run that kind of day and event and then do the cooking as well. But that's just, I can't separate the two. That's not my skill set. So my last one, I had a chef in. So yeah,
which is another cost though. How much did you pay for a chef?
She was only 800, and that's kind of standard for a couple of days. Some of them price it by meal. She also participated, so it was different.
Yeah.
I think it's not different, but that last one was actually also, my price tag was $3,000, and I know your price tag is not anywhere near that, but it's the number of people that you can get. So you can either have volume, and the money is not a barrier for people to come, because I know Sarah's like around the $480, $500 mark, yeah?
Yeah. But my target market is kind of like, like mums and working mums, that wouldn't be able to afford $3,000 for a weekend away. So that's why they keep coming back, because it is. So
they've ended up spending $3,000 with her anyway, because they've also delivery. So it's really funny, the whole barrier of people can afford this or they can't. They go on it multiple times. So one's not wrong. It's just a little bit harder to sell, or maybe you need a little bit more time, or you need a bigger market, or
definitely.
none of it's wrong, but it's definitely easier. And people don't even get the concept, I don't think, so. Like they have, oh, I'm doing a retreat, I'm going to have to do yoga and go to Bali. Why make it that hard that you have to go to an Asian country? You don't know how to transport yourself around, let alone all these people. There's massive insurance. Should be. Let's say technically there should be more insurance involved, but most people don't bother ticking that box. But you should bother ticking that box.
Yeah.
I'm not a massive cross the T, dot the I's kind of admin person, but that should definitely be done if you go to Asia.
Yeah.
When it's so much easier to just to set that thing up at home.
You also have to check if you're going to run a retreat, go through what insurance you go through. Make sure you're covered as the host.
Just been a simple conversation though, hasn't it, of location?
Yeah. I just contacted my broker and I said, am I right? And the house usually has, public liability and that as well. So, and all the trainers that I get to come up, they have their own insurance. So you need that.
How easygoing is she? Okay, so we've covered the itinerary. We've covered, what are some ideas for food, say?
Okay, so with food, you've got to make things that are quite easy. My whole thing starts on a Thursday, and I go and do all the food shopping. And I've just got a list. Like I've got a list that I literally just tick off as I go through the fruit shop, and because I know, like you just do the same thing like every retreat. You don't have to change it because they're not new people. Well, sometimes they're new, but I mean, sometimes they're people that have done it before, but they've done it a year ago. So I don't care if they eat the same thing.
So they don't care if they eat the same
thing. I just I've got all different recipes that I do, and I just go and do the shopping. Now that's all I get. I know exactly what I've got to get. And then that Thursday, I actually get my mum over and we do a bit of prepping. Like if I'm doing soups and stuff, we just make them at home, and I do a little bit of baking at home on the Thursday. And then I know when to prep everything through the day of the Saturday, if you know what I mean. Like, so for breakfast is basic. I have like a homemade muesli and berries, and that's easy. So you don't have to cook that, you know what I mean? But then lunch, I usually do a cooked lunch, but it's easy. It's an easy lunch. And then dinner, I usually have a slow cooked lamb or pork or whatever, and just salads and whatever. But it's like I do have to be on a bit of a schedule on how to, like, so it's all ready. But it's actually not that hard. It's not hard, but it is busy.
But you guys don't generally go totally hire. One of the girls, Shannon, just said, I'm totally hiring my mother as the chef. Yes, actually, I would as well. But then my mother would probably bring more bottles of wine than what I'd wanted to bring. But actually, that's an interesting topic. So, and we've talked about that before. You don't discourage your people from drinking, but you don't crack 10 bottles of wine open at dinner either, do you? But you're conscious of people and habits.
I let them drink coffee and I let them drink wine. Because my retreats are about letting your hair down and relaxing. We're not detoxing or anything like that. So if that's what you do at the end of the day to relax and have a wine, go for it. But in saying that, I always say, look, we don't have a big party or anything, and get stuck into it and have a late night. So nobody has ever abused that. They just have a couple with dinner and then that's it. But if you say no wine, a lot of people can't handle that. Because no wine, no way. There's a lot of people I found that are like, I wouldn't go away and not have a wine. So I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't either. So I've had some groups, like as private ones, they make the decision to not drink, and that's fine. But I kind of leave it up to them.
Let's go macro like that for a second. So are there any rules, whether you have a big group in that's hired you yourself or whether they're your people that you know through your own natural network? Are there any like full rules? Because remember we were talking about phones, I think. And
rules as in not rules, but with the phone, I highly encourage them to pop their phones away and just let it sit in the room so they don't have it on them. because otherwise, it's just a habit. Everyone picks their phones up all the time. I understand everybody's got families and, they need to connect, but really they don't need to be connecting all day long and, like they don't need to know every move of back home. So I say keep it in your room and go check just when, we're in breaks or whatever. So I don't say don't have it, but I also say let's not get on social media. I don't want a whole group of people sitting on a couch looking at Facebook when we've got each other to communicate with.
Simple basics, isn't it? And do you do any excursions, or do you just stay around the house?
Do I do any what?
Do you do any external excursions and activities, or do you stay on the house? Like I love that. I like going out.
No, I stay at the house.
Yeah.
I do stay at the house. There's only been once when the weather was absolutely shocking. So I rang up a local little gym thing. Like it was like a Pilates studio. It was just space. And I just went down there. The guy charged me $50 so I could just get in there and do some exercise with the girls. Because that was one where I was in Phillip Island and I just couldn't take them outside. We did this. We had this really long beach session to do and I just couldn't do it. So no, I don't take them out because it's not like they can go away and go out on their own. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a short amount of time I've got them for, so I just let them stay at the house.
It is a short amount of time, isn't it? Like the 2 nights. So do you get them to arrive on the Thursday or they arrive on the Friday? You mean
they arrive on the Friday, and because a lot of people work, so they don't have to take a day off work, I say they can come anytime after 4. So I'm there anyway, prepping and, mucking around. Usually, like sometimes I say earlier, and the ones that want to make a bit of a day of it, they can come earlier and then they head out and look at the shops and do whatever. I offer a light dinner on the Friday night. So as in I have a couple of soups that I've made. But if they want to go out and have dinner on the Friday night with their friends or whatever, they can. But the Friday night is not really, we don't have anything booked in as such. It's just kind of like meet and greet, and everyone gets there at all different times. So some people get there at like 8 o'clock at night and they're just stuffed. So they come in, they might have something to eat, and then they pretty much head off to bed early. Yeah.
And just in relation to beds, actually, because you mentioned this last time we spoke and it was just brilliant because people, I just won't have a place that's got bunks because I've never thought of even doing it for $5, but it does. It prices me out of the I'm coming. It prices me out of that. So it's a lot more conversations, a lot more people, and it's just different.
So every place that sleeps a lot of people have bunks.
Yes, and you mentioned something about it's just you like the rule that it's not a good idea to just put, a 35, 40-year-old woman up on a bunk.
Yeah, because I thought I would want to go up on a top bunk and sleep. I have put some up there and they haven't complained, but if I don't have to, I don't. But I also, I was saying to you the other day, Kate, that a lot of the times in the master bedrooms, so people know they've got to share a room because that's how I'm keeping the price down. So they know that. So sometimes in the master bedrooms, I get one of the mattresses off the bunks and I just put it like at the end of the master bedroom. There's still heaps of room. And so I make that like people can share that bed and have one on the floor. And these are usually people that know each other though. So, so I try to avoid bunk beds, like the top of the bunk bed if I can.
Yeah, and what do you do then actually if there are groups of people and, well, say there's a group of people that do know each other and then there's the odd couple that don't know each other that come in?
Yeah, I've always had, in my groups, I've always had like there's 2 people that know each other. They come in twos because a lot of people are not game enough to come on their own. I have had some come not on their on their own, and they are a little bit tricky, but they just know that they've got to share. So obviously you're not going to put 2 people that don't know each other in the same bed. So you put them in the room that has the separate beds. And friends, I've never had a problem with them sharing a bed. Like a lot of sisters come or cousins or best friends or whatever, and they don't have a problem. Some people are light sleepers and they'll tell you, so you keep that, you're just mindful of everyone's needs if they've pre-told you. With with the private retreats, I think we were saying the other day, I kind of leave it up to them. I tell them how the bedding is arranged, and I just say I don't know your friends and who's with what, or who's good friends with who. So you just sort out who sleeps where. And that's they just do it. So it's that's not even an issue.
Easy. And what would you say? What would you say was the clincher to be able to get to that point? So when Sarah's referring to a private retreat, she means she got to the point, well, she's at the point now where so many people know that she does the thing. There's been so much volume and talk, etc. And by the way, the website's still not like totally fancily updated, and there's no like online.
No, it's not even updated. I think I just updated it yesterday.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think she did that because we were doing this call, but it's got nothing to do with the online promotion either. This is just all organic. And now people are contacting her and saying, I've got a group, or can you run it for my group when I get these people?
So you pretty much just get like the groups that I've got, then they go off, and one of those girls out of that group will tell her group of friends, and then her group of friends will do one, and then one out of that group of friends will go off and say, hey, I did this retreat, and then she'll bring her friends. So yeah, it just kind of grows like that. And with the private retreats as well, like they still don't all know each other, because they just they always put it out to their friends, and then their friends like, well, I've got another friend that wants to come along, but someone might not know her. So there's always someone that like quite a few people that aren't known. So although it's a private retreat, they still don't all know each other.
Interesting.
And then you can break off into all of their different networks. So I think I was telling you that I've got a book club coming. I've never had a book club coming for a retreat.
What I loved was the fact that I remember when we started together a couple of years ago now, you and we don't work together anymore, guys. Sarah's a past client. We've just kept in touch, and she's just gone with this one idea and grown it like it's like a tree in the Amazon rainforest or something. It's gone wild. And she really wanted to work with these people that she was doing volunteer work for with their mindset and depression in the psychologist. And you really wanted to do more with them, and you were trying to get them into the gym, and you weren't quite sure how to do more with them. And it was just it's a different niche. Like they're not feeling great. They're not the most motivated people, but they're the people that can't give you the most, of course. However, now that whole thing's flipped, and don't they come on they're one of the groups.
I've done a mental health retreat, because you can customize it however you want. Like if I have kind of my standard retreat, but then if I did a private one, I talk to like the organizer and ask, what are they looking for, and is this okay? And generally they go with what I do. But I did a full mental health one with a psychologist. So she just ran all workshops throughout the day. There was no exercise. There was we still did meditation at the end of this first day. I did all the cooking still. But my girlfriend, who was the psychologist, she took this group of people all through different workshops. So yeah, that was really good as well. I've done football retreats as well, football club retreats.
So if you're in any other states, we're talking about AFL. So, and how did you get that contact? Because you actually already coach groups, sports groups, don't you?
Yeah, so I already did pre-season training for a couple of teams, like a 10-week program of their whole club. So like I'd go and train them for twice a week for 10 weeks, and you'd have like 60 people that you'll be training. So the coach just said, do you want to do a weekend, a training weekend? I said, yeah, no worries. So we did it down at Phillip Island, and then that's just grown from that, because then another guy who was an assistant coach in that team, he's gone to another club, and then he's got me the last 2 years. And so it's just, it just grows.
Snowboard. And where is it going next? Because you can use this platform to tell everybody if they've got any contacts for you that might want to do it with their work or their organisation. Or
what did you say?
As far as the goals of what to do next with it, with you, that you were telling me about the other day, is like workplaces and corporates.
Yeah, so I was thinking maybe if like a workplace needed a brainstorming weekend or something away, could easily cater for that, where you know, they want a bit of mindfulness stuff, but they also want to do a bit of business and it to be a healthy weekend. Easy. It's just easy. Once you get in it and you're just running it, it just runs like clockwork. And then you realize that there's no limitation on what you can do in there. I also, on the Sunday, mind you, we get up and do another HIIT session and yoga on the Sunday. I didn't say that before. So, yeah. And there's a little bit of downtime on the Sunday too. So yeah, you can tailor it. Like if you're a yoga instructor, you tailor it to your yoga, different yoga classes, or what the time slots that I've got aside. I can put whatever I want in there. But generally it's just the same one every time. And everyone's happy with that. I haven't had anyone unhappy.
Clearly not, because they're going on repeat retreats, which is also a great model, isn't it? So do you offer?
It is getting bigger and better every time I do one, though. Like I've been adding the pampering stuff in. I've added yoga into it, Reiki. So it has changed since the first one I did. But in saying that, everyone loved the first one I did as well. But I just made it, you know, it evolved, and that's how it just turned out. With the property as well, when you're looking for the property, it is good to have connections, because you'll get, like, usually just a weekend is generally around $2,000 or something like that, just for one weekend. But to keep my prices down, like if you go through Airbnb and you say they've all got a host, if you say, look, if I keep booking this, is there a better deal I can have? They'll say, yeah, just book through me and not through Airbnb. And you save a lot doing that. Just ask the question. Ask your friends. Loads of people have holiday houses that they've got on it. The one I've got at the moment is one of my clients, and he has it on a I don't even know what it's called, Island Stays or something. And he just says I can have it whenever I want, and they'll just book it out, and I just pay him directly. So I don't pay anyone else. So it's a lot cheaper if you've got a contact, or you can kind of go the back way in.
There's always the back way in, isn't there, with everything? I mean, I even tried to purchase a house not a couple of months ago by just contacting the owner directly and going around the real estate agent.
Yeah.
But you can go around everybody, guys. You've just got to ask the question.
You just got to ask,
And you'll have those people in your own normal, natural, organic. You'll have them in your network already, usually. I mean, you found one of your contacts actually through a Facebook group too, didn't you?
I put it on a community page saying, this is what I do. I'm looking for a property, because I couldn't find one that was suiting me. And then this lady just reached out to me, and her property was probably one of the best ones I've had. And she gave it to me for like half price for the weekend. So if I did have to pay around that $2,000 for the weekend, it would, the cost would have to go up for everybody. But that's how I keep it down. So I still outlay like the cost of the accommodation, food, and food is so cheap. I reckon I pay about $350 for the weekend to feed 10 people, which is amazing. And then the trainers that I get, they come from Melbourne and they come in. So the Pilates, yoga, and meditation. So that's about $350 for those three. So it's actually really low when you put it all on paper. The expenses, the outgoings are pretty low.
It is. You've got to start, like you said, you've got to start with a date, and the wheels will kind of come together to get you to the thing. And not a lot needs to be done in terms of marketing, etc. Because I think people there's this whole big list of things that need to be done in their head. You don't actually even need to do probably 80% of them, nor can you fit in 80% of the itinerary that you've probably got in your head that you want to do either. And none of it.
I wouldn't have every single minute catered for. I wouldn't, every single minute, because it doesn't. Sometimes conversations go longer than you expect. Like the workshop sometimes goes a bit longer, so you don't want to have it on the hour every hour. That's why I have that 4 hours in the middle of the day to just get a certain amount of things done. And then when we've got it all done, you just chill out. There is a lot of chill out time. I even get to do the meditation sessions as well, and the Pilates and that. Like, I'm not even that busy. It's a good weekend for me too. I do the yoga on the Sunday. I don't take it, I just participate.
I think it's critical. See, I needed to get up and do like at least the first half an hour or whatever for myself, but that's, I don't know. Everyone's different. My head's so much busier, obviously, than, I don't know. It just feels like probably I'm a bit more neurotic and than Sarah. So you've got to learn to manage yourself in whatever.
The actual thing that I was dreading the most, and I know this probably sounds ridiculous, is I hate cleaning. I hate cleaning the kitchen and doing dishes and all that. As mums, you wouldn't believe how many women cannot stand you in the kitchen doing dishes. They cannot stand watching. They ask to help all the time. So after dinner and everything, everybody just bogs in and the dishes are done in no time. It's amazing. Anything will do something little and then it's done.
Cleaning's not even in my realm of, I do that. How long is it going to take to clean that? I'd be like,
I just see. I hate the thought of cleaning up after people. But
yeah,
it's no issue.
Worst case scenario. See, and if you really wanted to not make that much of a profit, Amber is a client jumped on and said, I missed the start. How much you charge for your treats? Guess it depends. But would you say? Well, you can answer the question actually, Sarah.
If you get everything with the pampering at my retreat, it is $525, and I make well over $2,000 profit on all that. So from Friday night till Sunday lunchtime. So to me, I think that's good.
As in for the entire weekend?
$525 per person for the weekend, and that's everything included. They have to pay a $100 deposit when they book.
Yeah.
And then I think about 3 weeks out, I make them pay the rest. And it's non-refundable if they don't go.
Yeah. And Amber, because you missed this, Sarah was saying all the beauty treatments and the extra stuff that they can do for pampering, she has that as an added extra. So the basic ticket is only in the 400s.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, guys, think about like how much people actually spend for their own accommodation for 2 nights. It's on average $250 a night with food and everything included anyway. It's not a massive expense to be charging $500 for a retreat. I find that the brackets are, there's 500 and under, then there's the 700 to 800 mark, which requires a little bit more of a conversation with people and potentially a payment plan. Then there's over the $1,000 mark, and everything above that is a different conversation. But you've got to remember, guys, whatever you bring towards the project, you're bringing your own money issues as well. You don't try not to project that out. I mean, Sarah can see that now because she just goes and she has fun, and she's just like has fun, and it's got her in just such a good mood that every other part of her business is in a different level now as well, because this thing goes so well. So obviously, because people are meeting her face to face, and it doesn't seem to matter that there's a gym that's opened across the road and around the corner and on every corner near you now, which sucks. It's like industrial. But it doesn't matter because she's got this other thing that people don't do. And nor could anyone catch up quickly because you've got 20 under your belt. So this is why I want to do this today. So thank you so much, because you don't realize how much you know. Even that tip about I wouldn't put a 35 above person in a top bunk because people often need to go to the toilet at night.
Yeah.
I was thinking, yeah, that would be, it's hard, and they're hard to climb up and down. I don't mind sleeping in them, but it's not relaxing.
Yeah. No, that's it.
No, it's not. So thank you, guys.
So it's actually $400. I advertise at $400, and then the pampering is $125 or $130 for the 3 different things. So it's actually a $400 retreat, which is insane. And that's why I've got people that are like, I've got a girl that's already done it 4 times, and she's coming again this year with a different bunch of girls. So yeah, it's good. You make a lot of money on it.
It's amazing. So she's got a lot of small moving parts, but really, it's not really a lot of small moving parts. You could almost get a 5 or 6 bedroom house, couldn't you? Wow. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, but then you've got to have the space. You've got to have the space for them in the lounge room, and that you've got to be mindful of where they're going to do their exercising. Yeah, so if you have 50, you could do 15 people easily.
Do you have an oven that's big enough? Is all I'm thinking.
Yeah, I always ask that if it's a 90 centimeter oven. Easy. But yeah, you just have to be mindful that people like need space to do their meditation and yoga and that, and if it's inside. So
or whatever other exercises you guys are going to do.
yeah, whatever you do, whatever, it can be anything. I even get them to bring their own mats and everything.
Yeah. See, I don't think it's their own mats, like yoga mats.
Yeah, yoga mats. Just so I used to bring them. I used to pack my car up and bring them. Now I'm like, nah, everyone can bring their own.
Good idea. Yeah, it's guys. Stay. Have you got anything else that you want to add, Sarah, or any other bits of genius that you think people should know?
It doesn't have to be too. It doesn't have to be hard. It will be hard if you make it hard, but it doesn't have to be. You just be organized. Write down to-do lists for your retreat and have them ready before. It is easy. It's really easy and it's enjoyable as well. It's really enjoyable meeting new people and hanging out with a whole bunch of people that you've never met. It's fun.
So I'm just reading the comments. How would you start your feeler post? How many people did you have for your first retreat? Do you have some questions to ask the rental property? Lisa, you have to go and see it. If it's close enough, ideally, you go and see it.
I never went and saw them. I just looked at them on.
I'm a seer person.
Yeah, no, I looked at them online. What was the first question?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize this. I'm actually learning how to scroll on this app. So Shannon said, thank you. Now I'm thinking of putting out a feeler post like a manana. Exactly. Yesterday, wanting to try this since I met Kate last year. I thought that was cheap. How do you put out a feeler post? Lisa, can I answer that for just quickly? Exactly the same as you just did with that online high-end VIP thing is I'm thinking of running a retreat. But the feeler post is very different to actually getting people to part with their money. So I would almost do what Sarah did and choose a date, say, I'm running a retreat on this date, because you don't want people to say, oh, no, I can't come on that date. But if you make it on that date, I can come. And then you change.
No, definitely don't let people choose.
They won't give the money anyway.
Yeah, don't let people choose the date. But now I have it like this year I've got till September booked. Like not booked out, but I've booked the dates so that I've put them out in emails and stuff like that so that I'm just hoping people will like groups, which four groups have already said, yep, I want that date. And I've got a whole lot of other people that aren't a group but can do those dates as well. So because people always say if you've already got two or something and they're booked out, other people, if you're advertising it, will go, oh, well, what other weekends can you do? And you're like, oh, I don't know. So I have them now. Like now I can just give them those dates. These are the dates and book in for the year. I want them all booked out like within another 4 weeks so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, she's booking out 2020, folks. Like there'll be 8 finished done and then nothing more. Isn't that awesome? Sorry, Lisa's other question was, do you have any must-have questions to ask the rental property?
Wi-Fi for the music, because I play a lot of music and do meditation, stuff like that. So ask if they've got Wi-Fi.
You take your own little Bose speaker?
Yeah. I take my own speaker, but one of the houses that I was doing them in last year's one had it all through the ceiling. It was awesome.
Yeah.
No, not really. I mean, I just ask about linen as well. You got to ask whether they've got to bring all their linen, but they stayed it all. So, you just got to look at the house, and if you can visualize what you want to do in that house, and if you can visualize it in there, like that's it.
And I'm a fairly kinesthetic. I have to go in there and have a look and go, okay, cooking. But that's me. I kind of almost need to do a dress rehearsal. See how easygoing she is. With
the cooking, I have actually the house that I'm in now has everything that I need for cooking. But some of the other houses didn't have enough of just basic stuff that I used to have to bring along with me. So the less stuff that you can bring, the better. Like for cooking wise. So ask them, do they have roasting trays? Do they have a slow cooker? Do they have a rice cooker? Whatever it is that's on your menu, so you don't have to bring it. I bring my Thermomix though. If you're a bit of a Thermomix lover, I bring my Thermomix and use it flat out. and I sometimes bring my mum and dad's as well, so I have two going. I've been asked if I'm a Thermomix consultant before.
Bring your mum and dad as well.
Well, because they're so good and they're so quick.
Oh, the Thermomix, yeah, and they do actually make so much. We should be. There you go. That's one of the consultants that you could have. Could be a Thermomix business building weekend.
Yeah. People ask me, like, are you trying to sell Thermomixes? I'm like, no, they're just good.
They are, aren't they? Anyway, yeah, another side business. Thank you so much, girls. I guess if you're watching the replay of this, just type the questions in the box. We can come back and answer them later. And type your name there if you want the details on the retreat that we'll run. Maybe even if you can't come to Melbourne to do the retreat later in 2020, which will be at, obviously a very affordable price, even though we're going to help you sell your own retreat on the weekend as well. So we can launch that. So you can look at launching that for 2020. Comment below and I'll make sure you get the details for that. We might even do like live streams from there so you can participate even if you're overseas and you don't want to fly to Melbourne, but you could fly. I mean, I've gone to San Diego for a retreat before, so that only took like 20 hours to get to the location. So
yeah,
dedication.
I'm looking at doing one in the Gold Coast. I'll keep you posted for that one.
As in, do you mean Finglehead?
Yeah, no, probably not there, at a different location, but I've got loads of people up there that want one, so I'm looking into that as well.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Guys, like, what an amazing opportunity. Just get a group of people and actually go on Sarah's and you'll get to experience it as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again for your time.
No worries.
And she's in the group. And feel free to send us any messages, guys, if you've got questions. Otherwise, go put your stuff out there. Don't hesitate. Choose a date. Talk to you soon.
See you later.
Yeah.
Bye. Do I just hang up now?